The Madwoman in the Attic, The Woman Writer and the 19th-Century Literary Imagination, by Susan Gubar and Sandra Gilbert is a seminal work in feminist literary criticism. Published in 1979, it explores the ways in which 19th-century women writers created their own literary identities and narratives within a male-dominated literary tradition. Through detailed analyses of various literary works, Gubar and Gilbert uncover the strategies these women employed to assert their voices and challenge patriarchal constraints. The book begins by addressing the pervasive influence of patriarchy on literature and the marginalization of women writers. Gubar and Gilbert argue that women in the 19th century were often depicted as either angelic and submissive or monstrous and mad. These binary representations constrained female authors, who had to navigate these stereotypes while trying to express their own experiences and creativity. The Madwoman in the Attic becomes a central metaphor for the repressed female writer, symbolizing both the creative potential and the societal limitations placed on women. One of the key arguments in the book is that women writers developed a double consciousness to survive and succeed in the literary world. They had to internalize and understand patriarchal norms while simultaneously critiquing and subverting them in their works. This double consciousness allowed them to create complex and multifaceted characters and narratives that challenged the simplistic and reductive portrayals of women in male-authored literature. Gubar and Gilbert examine the works of several prominent 19th-century women writers, including Jane Austen, Charlotte Brontë, Emily Brontë, George Eliot, and Mary Shelley. They show how these authors used their novels to critique the limitations imposed on women and to explore themes of female agency, autonomy, and creativity. For example, in Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, the character of Bertha Mason, the Madwoman in the Attic, serves as a powerful symbol of female rage and repression, reflecting Jane Eyre's own struggles for self-definition and independence. The authors also explore the theme of female creativity and its relationship to madness. They argue that societal expectations often pathologized women's creative expressions, equating them with irrationality and hysteria. This pathologization served to undermine women's literary contributions and to reinforce patriarchal control over female bodies and minds. However, Gubar and Gilbert also highlight how women writers reclaimed and redefined madness as a source of strength and subversion, using it to critique and resist oppressive social norms. Another important aspect of the book is its analysis of literary motifs and symbols associated with female characters. Gubar and Gilbert explore how women writers used images of confinement, entrapment, and escape to reflect their own struggles with societal restrictions. For instance, the recurring motif of the imprisoned or isolated woman in 19th-century literature serves as a powerful metaphor for the constraints imposed on women's lives and imaginations. These motifs allowed women writers to subtly critique their societal roles and to imagine possibilities for freedom and self-expression. Gubar and Gilbert also discuss the role of intertextuality in women's writing. They show how 19th-century women writers engaged with and responded to the works of their male predecessors and contemporaries. By reinterpreting and rewriting traditional narratives, these women created alternative literary spaces that reflected their own experiences and perspectives. This intertextuality enabled them to challenge dominant literary conventions and to assert their own creative authority. The book highlights the ways in which women writers formed a literary community, drawing inspiration and support from each other's works. Gubar and Gilbert argue that this sense of solidarity and mutual influence was crucial for women's literary success. It allowed them to build on each other's achievements and to develop a distinct female literary tradition that could stand in opposition to the male-dominated canon. In the final chapters, Gubar and Gilbert reflect on the legacy of 19th-century women writers and their impact on subsequent generations of female authors. They argue that the strategies and themes developed by these early writers laid the groundwork for modern feminist literature. The Madwoman in the Attic becomes not just a symbol of oppression, but also of resistance and empowerment, inspiring future writers to continue challenging patriarchal norms and to explore new possibilities for female creativity and expression. The Madwoman in the Attic concludes by emphasizing the importance of reclaiming and re-evaluating women's literary contributions. Gubar and Gilbert call for a more inclusive and nuanced understanding of literary history that recognizes the complexities and achievements of women writers. By uncovering the hidden and marginalized voices of the past, they hope to inspire a more equitable and dynamic literary future. This groundbreaking work remains a vital and influential text in feminist literary studies, offering profound insights into the intersections of gender, creativity, and power.